G'day guys, welcome to a 2022 player report card. And as the season sort of just floats away into the distance, in the distant memory, and we're still left with some, I suppose, some scars from the way that the season ultimately finished off. From a team perspective, the pain does subside, but you're left, I suppose, with looking at the real positives. And if I was to, if someone said to me, "What are your top 5 positives for 2022?" Don't ask me why I'm saying top 5, but I would not hesitate to chuck Lewis Young into that top 5. In fact, he's right up there, maybe even top 3. I think it's a real positive, not just this year, but when you look at his age and look at the development left in him, and what really did we expect from Lewis Young this year? It's just a great story for us, or a great asset for us, and where we're heading, and considering all the shit that went on with Leon Jones, and we'd already brought Lewis Young to the football club before Jones had decided to move on, but I just think the expectations of Lewis Young coming in, we didn't probably expect a lot. And a lot of that may have been around the fact that, we've been in and out of the Western Bulldogs, still young, but been in and out, couldn't hold down a spot, a key defensive spot. It's not like the Western Bulldogs were great. I mean, they weren't great defensively. It's not like they had really top quality key defenders, even though they made a grand final. It was more system based than anything else. But I don't know, you're sort of also a little bit worried that a guy at 201 centimetres with all these attributes couldn't crack it into that team. And it wasn't like the Dogs were that disappointed in moving him on. And when you got a coach like Luke Beveridge, you're thinking, what the hell's wrong with this? What's the hell wrong with this Lewis Young? What's it in this kid that Beveridge doesn't rate? You got Cordy, you got Gardner, you got Keith, who are just, and I'm not calling any of those bad footballers, but they're not like they jump out at the page with you. And what was it about Lewis Young? Anyway, they're the trains of thought. And when Lewis Young was overlooked for the first couple of games, and it's not like Oscar McDonald's a superstar, he's anything, but you start to just think, what is wrong with this Lewis Young? What is it? Can the kid actually play? But then to come in and shoulder the load for a large majority of the season when Wiedering was down, and what he was able to put together, and at 23 years of age, it didn't, to me, feel like a fluke either, at all. And it completely shocked me what he was able to do. I did see him make his debut against us in his first year as a 17, was he 18-year-old? Because he was the youngest player taken in his draft, 2016. He just made it as a 17-year-old. I think it was by 11 days. But I saw him play an unbelievable game against us at the MCG against the Dogs, a rare outing at the MCG, and he marked everything. And I remember saying, where the fuck do these clubs unearth a kid taking a pick 49? Well, why can't we do that? I just remember saying that. He had the long sleeves on and he was marking everything. And then he just went into the wilderness a little bit, so he's 23 now, 24 in December. He's played 43 games, was still not a lot. He racked together 19 this year, and he's gone 7-2, 5-1, 9. So fell out of favour at the Western Bulldogs. They chucked him around everywhere. And this year he strung together 19. Key defender, they're bloody hard to find. Bloody hard to find. He comes out of contract at the end of next year, and we've got to lock him away. Got to lock him away. He actually just looks like he's really comfortable and happy at our football club. That's what I like as well. He just looks really comfortable. So I can't see him going anywhere. And that pick 49 is a great pick by the Dogs. You know, like it's a great pick, and they didn't want him. We picked up Harris McCready with pick 47. Pick 47, 2 picks before. And how'd that turn out? I know McCready had some injuries, but Jesus. Then, you know, Dogs didn't fight for him. It was just a matter of Nick Austin, you know, coming up with something which would suit the Western Bulldogs, and you know there was that 3-way trade with the Eagles, and you know they sent something the Dogs' way, and we sent SBS to the West Coast Eagles, and we got Lewis Young. So it was basically we swapped SBS for Lewis Young. Nick Austin said at the time, we have made it a real focus in this off-season to target specific needs. Bringing in Lewis Young well and truly does this. And we must note that he was brought in before Liam Jones had decided to leave. Although, the guy must have had an inkling that Jones wasn't going to. He wasn't going to come to the party. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all gone in the past now. We're just very, very lucky to have him. Season snapshot, overlooked for that spot down back in round 1. They went with Wiedering and McDonald. And yeah, it meant that Lewis Young had to play in the VFL, which we become accustomed to at the Western Bulldogs, but he was outstanding in the round 1 game against Brisbane in the VFL at Princes Park. He marked everything, 10 marks, 21 disposals, put his name up in lights, was overlooked once again. So the first 2 games didn't play, but as soon as McDonald went down, it was a no-brainer to bring Lewis Young in. And I think we were relatively, intrigued and excited to see how he goes, because it wasn't like McDonald was someone we were looking at and going, he's got to lock down a key back for the next 3 or 4 years. We were looking at Lewis Young and thinking at 22, 23 years of age, maybe it's him. And there was a level of intrigue to see him come in round 3 against the Hawks. And, for the next 6 weeks in the seniors before he went out with the health and safety protocols and missed the GWS game, he was just as solid as a rock down back. I mean, there was a few mistakes here and there, but he alongside Jacob Wiedering, he was everything that we would want from a guy that could play that at times lockdown tall defender, at times take an intercept mark, and then he returned after the COVID and played the rest of the season. So he really should have played the 20 games, but he missed one through health and safety protocols, because he's a very, very durable footballer, or he was this year. Statistically, as I mentioned, I think the word at the moment is solid as a rock. Great spoiler, 10.1. So he's elite in 1%ers, which I love. I love that part of his game, which I didn't think he had. But I just feel like there's a bit of what's his name from the Harris. There's a bit of Harris Andrews about him without being that smart arsey. I don't know. He's got sort of quiet aggression about him. Not over the top. I didn't think he had that in him. I'm not saying he's an enforcer. I'm saying I just felt like he flew the flag a few times and threw his weight around a little bit. I didn't know he had. But he does work for his size, he does work hard with his pressure, his 1%ers. Yeah, I really like that part of his game, but he's a great spoiler. You know, he kills the contest, kills it. Long arms, reads it perfectly in the air, and knows when to back himself and go for a mark, but knows when he's caught out of position and he's not going to be able to mark it, that he's got to really come over the top and as I said, kill the contest. Very disciplined in that aspect of the game. Above average in disposals, can find the pill. He's a pill finder, which says to me he can read the play. You know, and he's above average in both intercept possessions, intercept marks, one-on-one, effective disposals. Yeah, I can cut the opposition to ribbons with his disposals, particularly by foot. I'll get to that shortly, but he's neat. He's neat with his ball use. You know, sometimes it's a little, woo, Jesus, that was close. You know, because he's not the most penetrating kicker, but he's neat. Average in metres gains, more short than long kicks and tackles 1.4. Loved his last two games. I think when Weeders were down and we're just looking for something down back to, you know, in this 18 and 20 disposals respectively, on the big stage, pressure. I just thought he was exceptional. Had him in the votes both games. Yeah, really good. Big stage. I love that big stage player. Worst game up against the Saints. Him and Brody Kemp against, you know, the Saints rotated Ryder, Membry, King. They had Marshall going down there at times. So it was a night he'd probably want to forget. But he was so consistent. From the time he came in, he was so consistent. So you can't fault his performance, but I loved his last two games. Strengths, marking, reads the ball beautifully in the air, disciplined, got great timing with his spoiling. He's quite nimble and agile for his size, and I just think he's the classic second big key defender who's the real role player, and maybe the glue, maybe the real glue down back. I think his weaknesses are his up and under kicking. You know, a few pie floaters here and there, heart in the mouth type stuff because he doesn't kick through the ball. And I just think, you know, it's not so much a weakness, but I just still think he's developing physically. You know, he's getting his body strong in the contest. You know, against the big power forwards, the really big ones like your Hawkins, he probably can be muscled around just a little bit. One word, I was going to use revelation for Georgie Hewitt, but I ended up going with footballer. So I'm going with revelation for Lewis Young. And I've given him a conservative 7.5 out of 10. I thought he was actually better than Jacob Wiedering. And I know Wieders had his injuries, but I think he outshone Wiedering. I think I gave Wieders a 7 out of 10, and I thought Lewis Young was better. Tell me what you think. Are you excited about Lewis Young moving forward? I certainly am.